Welcome back to Why It Matters. Today we are talking about flattery and grace. As always, I'm Brandon Powell, and this is the Why It Matters Catholic Podcast, where we explore the imitation of Christ. We are still in Book 1, Chapter 8, where it says, "Let us have no flattery of the rich, no fondness for being seen about with important people, humble and simple folk, the pious and the well-disciplined. These are to be your associates, and your talk must be of gracious things." Why do we flatter others? Sometimes we flatter people because we want something from them. We are greasing the wheels and using others as resources. Sometimes we flatter people because we are people pleasers and really want this person to like us. We might even flatter someone because everybody else is flattering them. Whatever the reason, there is a danger to flattery. Proverbs chapter 29, verse 5 tells us that a man who flatters his neighbor spreads a net for his feet. And Proverbs 26:28 tells us that a lying tongue hates its victim, and a flattering mouth works ruin. Aquinas says that people who flatter are those who go beyond the standard of pleasant talk to make some kind of gain out of it. And Aquinas also says that flattery works against love for 3 reasons. First, when we praise others for their sins, that stands against the love and justice of God. This reminds me of how many times we have laughed with people or praised people for taking advantage of a customer, for getting promiscuous with someone, for taking advantage of other people in business, or perhaps even for breaking the law. Second, when we flatter someone to get something out of them, that is not love. That is using somebody else. That is viewing someone else as if they are existing for your benefit, for your use, rather than for the fact that they are made in the image of God and are there for His glory. Third, when we flatter someone in a way that leads us or other people to sin. When we praise people for their wealth, for their power, for their influence, then we encourage other people to go down the route of envy, to go down the route of pursuing things that they should not be pursuing in their lives. So there are always going to be people that we are tempted to flatter, and whenever we do it, we are committing a sin. We are harming those people. Yet perhaps it is not surprising that the group we are most likely to flatter are the rich and the powerful. Why? Simply because they have more that we can get out of them. Power, influence, and connections. You are going to flatter the mayor or your boss more than you are going to flatter the cashier at Walmart, because the cashier has less potential to improve your life through power, influence, or connections. It's the same reason why we want to be around important folk. We want to be seen. We want people to think that we also are important. Even those who were in the early church had to struggle with the same problem. The Apostle James wrote in the 2nd chapter of his letter, "My brethren, show no partiality as you hold the faith of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Lord of glory. For if a man with gold rings and in fine clothing comes into your assembly, and a poor man in shabby clothing also comes in, and you pay attention to the one who wears the fine clothing and say, 'Have a seat here, please,' while you say to the poor man, 'Stand there,' or 'Sit at my feet,' have you not made distinctions among yourselves, and become judges with evil thoughts? Listen, my beloved brethren. Has not God chosen those who are poor in the world to be rich in faith and heirs of the kingdom which He has promised to those who love Him? But you have dishonored the poor man. Is it not the rich who oppress you? Is it not they who drag you into court? Is it not they who blaspheme the honorable name which was invoked over you?" As we can see here, those in the early church had to struggle with the human tendency to show deference towards the rich and powerful, ignoring the value and dignity of the poor, and failing to recognize that that dignity and value is absolutely equal to those who have power. Obviously, our conversations should not be filled with flattery, but instead, as Thomas à Kempis, the author of The Imitation of Christ, as he calls us, we need to fill our conversation with grace. Why? Because our mouths reflect our hearts, which are impacted by our minds. St. Paul writes in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 29, that we should let no evil talk come out of our mouths, but only such as is good for edifying, as fits the occasion, that it may impart grace to those who hear. So our words should be pure and full of grace, but that is born from whether our hearts are pure and full of grace. Jesus says in Luke chapter 6, "For no good tree bears bad fruit, nor again does a bad tree bear good fruit. For each tree is known by its own fruit. For figs are not gathered from thorns, nor are grapes picked from the bramble bush. The good man out of the good treasure of his heart produces good, and the evil man out of his evil treasure produces evil. For out of the abundance of the heart his mouth speaks." We see that if our hearts are full of vice, our words will be too. We need our hearts transformed, but also we need our minds transformed. As St. Paul says in Philippians chapter 4, "Finally, brethren, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is gracious, if there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, think about these things. What you have learned and received and heard and seen in me do, and the God of peace will be with you." Basically, if we think evil, vulgar, or profane things, we will believe evil, vulgar, and profane things. If we believe and think these things, these are what we will speak. Vile language reflects a vile mind, which reflects a vile heart. It's why irreverence or sacrilege is the thing. Profanity comes from the word profane, which is treating something holy in an unholy way. The words we say are not accidental. If we are flattering others, it's because our heart is corrupt. We believe we need something from someone that is more important than respecting their dignity and our own. Instead, let our words be words of truth and grace. I'm Brandon Powell. This is the Why It Matters Catholic Podcast. Thank you for joining us. God bless.